Okay, summary of quantities. And for this, we're primarily going to be focused on the CAD aspect of it. Of course, before you even, get to the point of adding your summary of quantities to your CAD files, most likely you are going to be using an Excel file, and that will probably be one of two. The one that you're looking at here on the screen right now is definitely the most common one statewide, I would say. It's the one that is available on the state website. It's also available in ProjectWise within IDOT standards, I think. Yeah, SOQ 2007. Then you just go down to the latest pay items, and then you'll see it right there. And then you could just right click on it, click export, bring it into your job file. And then once you do so, there's some very good instructions that are included with the Excel file. So I'm not really going to cover how to go about completing this Excel file. Now at District 6, more recently, Brian Mender, a designer there, has developed a very, very good Excel spreadsheet also. I know there's other districts that have also created their own. So there's several floating around out there. Like I said, this is probably the most common one. But what is the same about them really is that when you get down to this last tab, you'll see that they're all basically formatted the same way. So it's really just going to be a matter of just copying and pasting it, and we'll go through that process. Let me pull up the other one that I had just mentioned. If I can find it here. Let's see. It's called SOQ Creator. Okay, here it is. Yes. Okay, and right now we're looking at a totally different one, the one that I mentioned Brian Mender of District 6 created. You can see that the end result looks exactly the same as the statewide one. The way you go about it is just a little differently, but Brian has also put together a nice set of instructions on how to use it. So either one, whether it be the statewide one, the District 6 one, or any other district, whatever you use, most likely it's going to be an Excel spreadsheet, and the end result is going to be looking like this. So this is where we are going to start. And for this particular project, for this Illinois 78 project that we've been using throughout this training series, at that time the new SOQ wasn't created, so we were using the statewide one at the time. So let's go ahead and run through that process. Although, let me mention one thing real quick. I would say it's really not quite ready yet for the average user, but I can say that the central office is well into putting together a new summary of quantity process that works with modeling, and it also works with something in ORD called I think it's called item type reports. As a matter of fact, I just saw WebEx on it. It's coming soon. There might be a handful of people in the district starting to try it out, but like I said, it's absolutely brand new. Over the next couple of years, I'm sure that's the route we were going. But for now, for putting out projects, I'm going to say most likely you're going to be using this spreadsheet or one like it in Excel. Okay, so here's the process in ORD. So we're going to go to plan production. Well, I guess first of all, of course, we created our 2D seed file, called it SOQ. That's typical file naming. convention, we're going to go to drawing production, name boundaries, and then we're going to go to this icon over here. It's what, the third from the end. We've used this on other things before. And we are going to use the detail sheet, which is just a kind of a generic plan sheet. We can give it a name if we like. I'll just call it SOQ. We can leave the size set to 1 inch equals, or 1 to 1 basically. New group, that's fine. Group name, yeah, we can call that SOQ also. And then by default, the rows and the columns here are going to be set. They're both going to be set to 1, but on the columns, normally you don't know how many SOQ sheets you're going to need right off the bat. Just by default, I normally just key in 10. You're most likely never going to use 10, but it won't hurt to have the name boundaries out in the file. And then we're not actually generating models yet from all 10 of those. We only generate them as we need. So I like to just place 10 out there. Okay. And then I'm just going to hover anywhere on the design plane here, data point. And there's my 10 name boundaries. And yes, they're right next to each other, but that actually will not be a problem once we create our sheets, I don't think. No, should not be a problem. Let's give it a try, though. We'll find out. Okay. So at this point, we don't have any sheet models created, right? We're only working in the default model. We just put the name boundary out there. So let's get started with one of our Excel files. So I'm just going to highlight these, and right off the bat, and this could be in any Excel file. Sometimes you see those little green error messages. It's kind of nice to get rid of those before you paste anything, because they will show up in CAD. So I'm going to click on Ignore Error because it's not really an error. And then I'm just going to highlight my first summary of quantities. Hit copy. And then I go over here and I'm going to do a paste special. Now, if you're not sure where to find that, of course, you can always just go up to the search bar and start typing paste, and it's going to be like the first one that pops up. And then we are going to click on this one, linked MicroStation Excel file. And I think you're best off not to save the Excel file in ProjectWise. I'm not sure that it will link, properly doing it that way. I've had better luck with just either, keeping it in SharePoint or your S drive, or wherever you keep your other project files. So I will go to paste, and then instead of using the corners method, that way I'm kind of, I'd be doing that for everyone, then they wouldn't be consistently the same size. So you're best off to click on by size, and then I normally set the scale to 1.5, and that works out about right. Whether you're just placing, again, it really depends on how big the job is. If it's a smaller job, you're probably just placing one SOQ per sheet. But regardless, the 1.5 gives you enough space to go with 1 or 2, side by side. So I'll just place 1 in the middle for now. And you notice those lines across the SOQ, and the reason for that is because I still have the Excel file open, so that's not hurting anything for now. And so I would just go along, and however many SOQ sheets I have, I would just place 1 in each one of these name boundaries. So let's, why don't we just do, say, 2 for now. And I'm over on the side just doing another copy. I'll come back with the paste special again. And there we go. You can put yourself out a like a reference point if you want to make sure like every one of these is in the exact same location. You know, sometimes I might do something like this: snap here and here, and then I'll just copy that over to the over here and here, and then when you do place the next one, you could place it exactly the same location, so that when you flip through the sheets as a PDF, it shows that they're in the exact same location. It just looks a little better, but either way is fine. Okay, so our next step is in drawing production. Go to this button in the lower right hand corner here, and we're going to go to other groups. Oh, and I can see that I accidentally created a new group. I should have just used the one group, but that's okay. No, actually, let's go ahead and fix it, just so you can see if you do it yourself what you would do, what I'm talking about here. So I'm just going to delete that second one, and then I'll go back and I'll repaste it in there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's see, not that, but just a simple paste. Okay, so I'm highlighting it over to the side here. Copy. I'm going to paste it in. Let's see here. What is that doing? Link by size. Okay, let me pause this for 1 sec. Okay, so we're back. I just realized I was pasting 2 of these sheets instead of just one. So just be careful with that. On the other version, the one that Brian Mender put together, he kind of highlighted off to the site to make it a little bit more easy to tell that you're in a different sheet. So because they are all kind of stacked on top of one another. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep moving along. You can see that we have 2 sheets here set up. So now we are going to process those sheets again by going to that button over there, and then we're going to expand other groups, and we're going to make sure this button here is toggled. We go right click, create drawing, and we'll just look this over, see if there's anything we need to change, and there is not. So we will just say okay. Okay, so that created the sheets. So I can see that, let's see, for whatever reason, the name border came off to the side on here. I'm not sure exactly why, but if you ever have that happen, just know that all this is really, it's a reference file. And so if you ever need to move anything around, just go to Tools, Move, and I'm going to select that name boundary, and you can just move it up into place. There we go. So we're good there, and I'm assuming it did that on each one of these sheets. Yeah. So we'll just do the same thing here. If that ever happens to you, you can just move it over as needed. There we go. All right. So we're only, even though I guess I processed all 10 sheets, didn't really need to. If I knew for sure we were only going to use 2, I could have just processed just the 2 sheets, but it's not going to hurt anything. It'll actually just set up those models in case we end up having more summary of quantities sheets in the future and we need to add to it. So Our next step is to go to our sheet index. We make sure that we're in the edit mode. You're probably going to see this pop up here. That's it's kind of a preview technology. Don't worry about that. Just exit out of it if you ever get that. And what we're going to do here is a couple ways you can do it. We're going to, to add the sheets, you could either select the folder and then just go add sheet and then path out to this sheets file and select the two. Or you can just come up here to the models icon, and then in this case we only want the first two sheets. So I'm going to select the two at the same time, drag it across and release on Summary of Quantities. And then when I do that, if I go back to my sheets, you'll notice that the sheets are automatically, the title blocks are automatically populated because it's part of the sheet index now, and all that general information we keyed in earlier on a previous video. As far as filling in this portion of the title block, I guess you could do that direct on the sheets. The way I like to do it is to just select both sheets at the same time, right click, go to properties, and then that way you can just type this in one time. So I'm just going to type in Summary of Quantities, enter, and I only have to do that once. I don't have to do it for every sheet. And then it's automatically going to populate that data. And then if there was a second row there that we wanted to add additional information, we could do that. So either way. So that's it for Summary of Quantities.